Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to another design review looking at future Wolfram language functionality. This is part of our language completeness and consistency series. And first up, we have knitting of MapApply.
Right. So, yes, this is a bunch of, right. So we added MapApply in 13.1, and then, we need to sort of update. Right. So there are a bunch of places which refer to, double add and triple add. And, it's both apply, but of course that's no longer true. And then the question is, and then there are a few other places that maybe we want to add one or both of
apply
these.
to. Yes. Sorry, I was making kind of a pun there. What the heck is this? Totally messed up. What the heck is this?
What are you seeing?
Well, I'm just seeing. Okay, finally that's just a really weird, messed up collection of all right, applying functions to lists here, is that correct?
Yep.
Just use that as our sample. Oh gosh. That's messy. What do you propose to add there?
Well, we could either.
You propose to add MapApply here.
Right. I mean, we could either add MapApply there and, say something like, apply to a function to elements of a list. Or we could, sort of list both of them on the previous line.
No, I don't think we should do that. Not
Okay.
for this page.
Okay.
I think for this particular page,
or we could say apply a function at level 1.
No, let's not do that. Well, no specified levels. We could say
right, then it would be by analogy with the previous line, it would be apply a function to the elements of a list.
Yeah, why not? Let me not put all this in there.
Okay.
Okay. Do I have to look at every single one of these?
I suppose that's up to you. If you're okay with, I mean, the ones with the question marks, I think we should look at. There are like 4 of them, I think.
Why does this stupid thing go back and search my whole? I thought we'd set this 500 times to not do this.
You can click on the O box, the O button next to open guide page. That'll give you something that only scans.
Oh, okay, fine. That's what I need. Okay. So here.
Pretty sure it was here.
Yeah,
so there it is. Yeah.
So just put on the next line here, MapApply paren.
Yeah, right. So, and then there's the obvious generalization of that line.
No, but I wouldn't.
Or you're just saying just do it in the bulleted form, not with a definition. You
know what? It's useful enough. Just give it a whole line.
Okay.
You think? I mean,
yeah, I think that makes sense. I think it's significantly more important than everything in the line below.
Right. Okay, so now I say expressions here. What?
Right, it's underneath the second green line there. Yeah.
No way, we do not need it here.
Okay.
Um,
And then,
Parts of matrices.
right. So apply isn't on this page, but
No, should it be?
Well, I don't think that's a very common case, but we do have map on this page if we want to apply a function to.
So wait a minute. MapApply is more useful than apply because apply would chop the head off the matrix by default.
Right. And so MapApply, depending on whether the function is scalar valued or vector valued, MapApply will either keep a matrix as a matrix or transform a matrix to a vector, right? So if you want to, sum the rows, right? Well, you could use total, but you could also MapApply
I think it shouldn't be on this page. I think this is really a matrix as matrices, so to speak.
Okay. Right. Again, right. So we have the map family here. And so do we want to include, MapApply along with map, bat, map, and map all?
Well, this is about parts of expressions. So does MapApply relate to that?
Right. So I suppose
no, I don't think so. It's pretty
okay.
tenuous.
Okay.
Language overview, no way.
Okay.
No. Okay.
All right. I can, using these templates, I can fill out the remaining pages.
Sounds good. Okay. Monitor, lizards or not?
Yeah. Right. So this is sort of, there are a couple of issues we've discussed about progress monitoring. One of them is sort of asking for monitoring things, which for one reason or another, it may be very difficult to sort of add progress monitoring natively. And also sort of how we package this up for users. And so one idea—
like monitor of map, for example.
Exactly. And so if you look at the examples, you will see a monitor of map in there. And so there's a screenshot there, but of course you can also evaluate those and see it actually happen. Right.
That's magnificent.
Okay.
That's magnificent. I mean, I think obviously we need a good way to display. This is bullshit. I mean, I'm sorry if I might say so. What are you doing here? This is the function map. You got to say it's the function map. Don't invent another name for it.
Steven, is a demo. Is a demo. Just I put some random text. I assume that this would have gone to. We'll have to go through review or something.
Okay, fine.
Right. Yeah. Yes. This is a prototype. Maybe I didn't make that sufficiently clear. This is a prototype that we are exploring, and
it's great. The concept is great. The words aren't right.
Okay.
Okay. So here.
So this is a small breaking change. You see that if we want to support this behavior together with the 3-argument form monitor, which allows for the delay, we need some second argument to basically stand in for the 1-argument form. So basically,
hold on. I'm not remembering what the 3rd argument of monitor is.
Well, we should move it to the syntax table. Is the last note.
Okay. You know what? That should be an option. That just should be an option. It shouldn't be the 3rd argument there. What analogy Don't we have other cases like for tooltips where we have tooltip delays and so on?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a progress delay option if you really want to go with that.
Well, but what do we
Yeah.
have in tooltips?
I don't remember.
I think it's exactly tooltip delay. I'm looking for it, but
Yeah, okay, tooltip delay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's very precise.
Yes, I mean, it's been not an option for, since version 6, so 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I understand that. So we would have to continue to support that case. But I think we should move it towards having, okay, so we've got shrinking delay. So we might want to give it a very specific name like monitoring delay. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, possibly. Here, what options, if any?
Well, we have a lot of functions that display the progress monitoring. Not just the big training function, but also like a lot of video function. We could use it. We could propagate it basically if we want.
Well, monitoring delay. So, monitoring delay would just be the amount of time to delay, how long to delay before starting to monitor the function.
Oh, well, that's not exactly true, right? Because it's
Yeah,
still
that would be
monitoring it.
incorrect.
It's not just not showing it.
Okay, before displaying the monitor of the function.
Exactly.
Before displaying progress. So I mean, but that's very bizarre to say progress delay. That would be my initial.
Right. I mean, right. The analogous options that we do have is progress reporting, which can be true or false and maybe also automatic.
So maybe it's just progress reporting delay.
Right.
Why not? Progress reporting delay. I mean, it's an obscure option. Most people will never set it. Right?
Right. And I think that, I think independent of whether or not it's an option, I think it's good to have a value for the second argument, which is equivalent to the one argument form, just as a matter of sort of language design. So I don't think we should not support automatic. But
yes,
also,
I agree. We could support automatic. We can also support some string values for that second argument. Potentially.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I pick automatic is both because in my mind, automatic basically means do whatever you should do. When
I know.
And also because displaying automatic as a monitoring thing is not particularly interesting. So.
Yes, quite. Sandra on live stream is suggesting display delay, which is not a terrible idea. Maybe we should. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think we might want to.
That doesn't feel quite right. I can't quantify why, but
I think
we have a display function. It could.
I think we should just.
Sounds more general.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this is magnificent. Are there issues here about nested ones? Is it if we say monitor of a table here, the monitor will
process the the iterator specs, and right, notice how you see that says 24 of 32, right? So it multiplied the 2 of the sad face smiley face, and
so monitor is a hold first argument function, right?
Yes.
I think it's probably hold all.
Okay. Yeah, probably is.
Hold all.
So, but it is a function, not a headdress.
Correct. So we are inventing a one argument form to right.
Yeah, and the 2 argument form has worked fairly well, so I'm not too worried about it not being a headdress.
So you were asking about what is if you have a table inside the table?
Yeah, but the basic point is it's the proximate table that the monitor deals with. So if you say monitor of foo of X, it's going to do nothing because foo is not monitorable.
Exactly, and that was my question above. Like, should we design a system for the user to opt in this?
Yes, I think so. But I mean, I'm also a little bit concerned about the possibility I think there's an argument that you should be able to say, okay, if you say monitor of f of fold, should the monitor drill through the f to get to the fold?
Well, it can when it's literally present. What I don't like is why it should be any difference if fold is literally there or not. What if I say
That's
G
okay.
equals
We
fold?
can. No, it's okay. I mean, that's okay. It's somewhat lexical. People are not, I don't think that's, look, the most common case here will be that you're trying to debug something and you stick this monitor in. You know, we can initially just do it as a pure, the thing it eats on the outside of the sandwich, if you understand what I'm saying. You know, it can just look at the outermost function. That's okay, I believe.
Right.
To begin with. Maybe we can later on have some cleverer heuristic where it can drill in and find a function that is monitorable.
And already this will be a big project. I mean, the prototype I have here is hacking. Is re-implementing like map with map index is modifying the payload of Nest. We will have to do it properly in the C kernel to make it efficient. So
yeah, which we need to do.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I say like there's a big plate to make this happen, and I think while we do that, we can have all sort of ideas.
Okay. By the way, Sandra is asking, will it deal with correctly counting the number of elements in a triangular table, like a table I goes to 10, J goes to I? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, we can try it, see what happens, right? I mean, it's in the prototype build, so right, these examples are evaluatable.
I think it will just break right now because I'm assuming that they are numbers. So
this case here, we say monitor this.
It will probably say something like I minus something, is not a number. Okay,
you need to make put an F. You need to put F around one of those so it'll be slow enough or slow to right.
Where do I put it?
Define it with sub values. Yeah,
in the body.
Slow F apply to that.
Yeah.
This, like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's updating. Well, at least it's updating in real time. That's, I mean, it's not great, but that's better than I expected.
Well, you could do an analysis, but I mean, I see the bigger problem is the semantics of the whole doll thing, but maybe that exists already.
For monitor.
For monitor, yeah.
Well, we've already crossed that. I mean, monitor's been doing that for years.
Right, okay, but it's just right. I mean, but that's no different from manipulate or any of these other.
Right. The issue is if you put it in, like echo doesn't have that problem, and so you can just spray echoes into your code with wild abandon. Whereas with this, it might semantically change your code. If you had a block outside of this, the block wouldn't seep into the monitor correctly. Maybe it would, but in that particular case,
no, block. Should. I mean,
it should do it. It should do it. But there might be some case where, I don't know. I mean, a case where putting a monitor in would actually change the behavior of the code. Yeah. So that's an issue. So I mean, there are a couple of issues here. So one thing is, we need language which says, and for goodness sake, we have to give the name of the function. I mean, we say, what do we usually say? Do we usually have a verb here in a progress monitor?
We say computing, yes, something like processing frames.
Okay, well, I think what we should do is to say basically map of, and then we should have this thing and then ... Okay, so we should have the beginning of it somehow so that we get the word, the name of the function in, and we get an indication of what the thing it's processing actually is. But obviously we should cut that off because that could be completely huge. Am I making sense?
Yep.
I mean, it basically would say evaluating, and then that maybe in light gray, and then map of blah, 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 dot, dot, dot.
Yeah, and then nest of, okay, fine.
I don't know quite how to close the bracket for that. Evaluating map, and then maybe. Well, I mean, we could just have map of the beginning of the first argument, comma, dot, 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 close bracket. Maybe what we want to do is, yeah, this is going to look better. Evaluating map of f, comma, dot, 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 close bracket. And if f is big, it'll say f dot, 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 comma, dot, 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 close bracket.
Mm-hmm.
That make sense?
Okay.
Now, other than that, this just looks magnificent. I mean, I think that map index, those ones are clearly, you're going to want map thread, a bunch of other things like that. How exactly, whether you need to change names, like, for nests, you don't want to say processing blah of blah elements, do you? Maybe you could.
Well, that's the default. I didn't change it. We could customize it for some functions, but
right. Yeah. This looks magnificent. Anything else to talk about this right now? Other than this looks like a really good idea.
Not really. I'm still not sure about how to.
Oh, user hooks. User hooks for a second.
Yes.
Okay. So my guess is that this will have to be, the only real way to do it is to have a monitor value, just like we have a format value for a symbol. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, you need to pass at least two values here. Yeah, like what's the total and what's the current? Like two.
No, I understand that. I understand that. So, okay, wait a minute. So we have various kinds of, step monitor. How exactly do those work? We have a step monitor. You know what I'm saying? Which is an expression to evaluate, is it not?
Right. That's an expression that evaluates at each,
right,
quote
right.
unquote
So then, what we could do. Let's see. For user-defined functions, if the user, okay, so there are two cases. One is that, okay, it's a user-defined function. Okay, there are two things we want. One is it's a user-defined function, and it simply brings up this nice blue box. So that, in other words, what you do is you say, somehow inside the body of the function, you simply have something which has some callback mechanism. I don't know exactly how the blue box works internally, but
it's just dynamic.
Well, in a notebook interface, right? That's
it's dynamic in notebook interface and is a scheduled task that prints stuff in the terminal.
Okay, so fine. But what I'm saying is there are two things we want. One is that the user be able to put up the blue box. That's case number one, explicitly put up the blue box. And the other is to set up a function where if you were to wrap it with monitor, it would put up the blue box. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, well, simply put up the blue box is a matter of documenting our progress monitoring wrapper.
I understand. So that's one thing to do. Okay. And the progress monitoring wrapper, what does it take?
Right now, it works like monitor. Like you give it an association with, for example, like progress goes to I, and then I is the value that changes in your function.
There's an internal rough page. So if you were to open the page, evaluate with progress in DocuTools, you will see internal documentation for this function, which is not in the system context.
Should we put it? I mean, should we make it of WFR for the time being? Why not?
Well, the design might change. So
for what? So that's the whole point for WFRs. This
Okay.
seems very useful. I think you should put it there just so we can play with it. Okay. So great. So I mean, we should grind this design and try and get it to be a system function. I mean, maybe it should be called monitored evaluate or something like that. Okay, in any case, so that function exists. All right, so then the next question is, well, you've got to have something where normally you just define f of x blank colon equals blah. But if you wrap f with monitor, then it should be using evaluate with progress instead of. So in other words, what you're basically saying is the params here have to be available. Given the function f, you've got to be able to supply the params. But are the params knowable without knowing what expr is? Do you understand what I'm asking? I mean, doesn't that are the parameters contain the explicit symbol I, for example, for an iterator? Or do params say where to find the iterator within expr?
No, they
No, right now
include I.
Yeah, is I. I mean, there's nothing against supporting some if we reserve some symbols.
No,
You
no,
know,
that's not
like-
what I mean. That's not what I mean. I mean, because what we got to be able to do is given a symbolic structure, expr, that you're now asking for the monitor of expr, you've got to be able to pull in the appropriate params to be able to make the progress monitor for expr in the appropriate way.
Right. So right. And to be clear, right, what the demo that you've looked at in that notebook does is, well, we have standard iterator specification, so it completely ignores the function and just looks at the iterators and sort of does them one at a time, right?
Yeah, I get it, but it's got to dive into the table, to the symbolic table expression to find the iterators.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then
so,
it is modifying the first argument to evaluate something else, which is like, I don't know, I plus, like progress.
yeah, okay,
plus
I
plus,
get it. I
something
get
like
it.
that.
I get it. I get it. So the issue there is that means you're basically, you're munging unevaluated code. When you give monitor, you want the user function to munge the unevaluated code to essentially rewrite the code to add evaluate with progress in the appropriate way, correct?
Well, that's not necessary. I mean, the easiest way is to write your function with progress in mind, which would just be there doing nothing. And then you just specify, oh, by the way, when I'm wrapped with monitor, the variable progress is the one you want to look at.
Okay. That's probably a better.
That's easier than.
Okay, so then. So you're saying there are two cases of evaluate with progress. One is do it always, and the other is do it only when you're wrapped with monitor. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I wasn't so eager to document evaluative progress is that you in principle, you don't even need to see that, yeah? Like if you write your code in a way that tracks the progress, then you just need a way to say, okay, when monitor is around, just use this.
I understand, but evaluate with progress for any function expr produces the blue box with certain parameters in it, correct?
Well, if you don't give a second argument, it just says computing. It just gives you a blue box.
Fine. But right.
But yeah,
I mean, yes.
If you give some text, for example, like non-dependent to the function.
But this is an explicit way of saying I want the blue box.
Exactly. It's an explicit way.
Okay.
Yeah, to answer your question from before.
Right. So what you're saying, the point you're making is we could have a thing that says I do nothing unless I am called wrapped with monitor, in which case I produce a blue box. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I wasn't really saying that.
That's what you meant to say because it's the right thing to say. Right? That's the thing that we want. Right? We want a function. Look, the case that we want that is probably an interesting.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's what we want, right? I mean, we have Right, we have various functions which support the progress reporting, and I think they currently default to $progress reporting. And so, you know, right, why shouldn't users be able to implement things that way?
I think it's less convenient than having explicit monitor. Maybe monitor can work by resetting $progress reporting if necessary. But I think the thing that is convenient is when you define your function f of x blank to have a wrapper around the right-hand side that says, you know, basically what we're talking about is f of x blank colon equals monitor when told to of body. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, except I think that's basically evaluate with progress.
No, it's not, because evaluate with progress always puts up the blue box.
No, it doesn't. Right? There's a delay option.
No. Forget the delay. I'm not. I'm saying there are two cases.
And then right, it consults $progress reporting, etc.
Does it? Okay, but I think the convenient thing is to have a wrapper that is evaluate with progress, but to be used only when there is an explicit monitor in calling the F. Because that's the analog. That's the direct analog of what we're going to be doing with map. Yes, I know you've got to be able to tell it how to find those parameters from the body.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's exactly the analog of what we're doing with map. Map by default does not produce progress monitoring. It's only if you ask it to that it does it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is the second argument of what you wrote. What's the spec there? Does it
I don't
work
know.
Like
I told you the thing I was saying before, which is you've got to be able to evaluate, you've got to be able to rewrite the unevaluated code of body to go and find parameters in it that you are then going to monitor. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, but I'm not sure I agree. Why would you need to rewrite the code there?
Okay, because you've got to extract. You've got something that says table here, and it's got an I in that weird position in that symbolic expression. You've got to be able to extract that I from there and use it, the same I, to put into the monitoring thing. That's the point. Do you get it?
The only reason this works is because we have deep knowledge of what table does.
Yes, I know.
Right. We don't go spelunking through random functions.
I know, but I'm saying when a user puts this in here, right? Actually, it isn't even necessary. The user can specify what the parameters are here. The user knows what they are because they've got the body here.
Exactly. That was my point.
Okay,
you don't need to do rewriting.
Yes, you're correct. I'm sorry. I unfortunately need to go in minus rather a lot of time. So,
okay, let's. I don't want to hijack the whole thing. We can use this as a basis to work forward.
Okay, this is this is perhaps worth talking about.
I don't think we can get to this today. I think
the others can definitely wait.
What the heck is this? Tentatively used for exceeding recursion limit.
Right. So see that example?
Is that what it does now?
That's what it does in the current 13.1 master builds. It's controlled by a system op,
which is different from what it did before, which is just say $recursion, $iteration limit, and then return to top level. Correct?
And it returned something with a hold in some random place, that and or crashed.
Right.
Well, I mean, the difference is that this is not returning. Yeah. This
right.
Is throwing.
It's throwing an exception now rather than returning. But yes, it's completely aborting the computation.
That's going to cause endless bizarre bugs.
Well, it's uncovering endless bizarre bugs.
So did the old behavior of turning into hold of f
no
of
doubt.
f of f
no
of
doubt.
f of.
Yeah, I have no doubt. It's just that people have assumed that behavior.
Right. And so yes, in fact, we have, well, it hasn't caused as much breakage as we might have worried, but we have found 3 bugs where things were secretly recursing infinitely and then just, but it was
Right,
hidden
being
behind
ignored.
quiet.
Yeah, right.
So, right. And so, so
Right.
2 have already been fixed and the 3rd will presumably be fixed.
Yes.
But
we
we
need to
could,
pick this up more carefully. I mean,
Okay.
I understand what I understand what you're saying. I mean, how deadly is a system exception? It's pretty deadly, right? I mean, it just everything exits around a system exception.
Right.
well, but but you can catch it. So, but yes.
So
I
sorry,
introduced it for the case. I originally introduced system exception for the case where we ran out of memory, but we didn't want to call that kernel no mun function that said the kernel's quitting because it didn't have enough memory.
Right. So in the case where you've run out of memory, it's the choice between crashing and between completely aborting the.
Yeah.
So that was an easy call, right?
Right.
Now this I will 100% concede that this is a much closer call. So let's pick this up next time. At least.
Yeah,
we
right,
all
but I mean,
agree.
the basic issue is how deadly. In other words, boy, I mean, I've got to tell you that I think I can imagine cases where I've got a table and some things work just fine. You give 7, 18, whatever, and then one of them is some bizarre iteration limit. I don't want to kill the whole table as a result of that.
But the point is with the system exception, you don't have to because you could put a catch.
No, but I don't know that there's
inside your
supposed to be a
table.
catch. I don't know there's supposed to be a catch.
well, it
But you
tells you,
also-
and then you fix your program.
You get the message and then
No,
you
but
know.
you get the message having not got the list out. You just get an uncaught throw.
Okay, and this I think is the reason why this whole discussion should relate to what Christopher, Connor, Leonid are doing with the exception handling. I think we have a meeting,
Yeah.
Stephen, later this week. I mean, Leonid has a very nice prototype of like using failure object for this, which contain the stack of the computation that you can see exactly where it failed, what was the last thing executed.
Okay.
That's going to be much more helpful figuring out what went wrong.
All right. Sounds good.
Is
By the way, Ethan, comments.
is this a Stephen meeting? Is this a meeting with just you and them?
No, they've been meeting for 1 year. I typically join when I have time, so once every month or so. But I think it's ECE, the name of
Okay.
I'm not.
No, that's
the name.
just the name of the group, but that's not. The
Yeah.
question which Itai is asking is this surfacing into a meeting with me for final design stuff, or is it still bubbling?
I think it's initial design stuff.
All right, okay, but so there's a meeting being scheduled.
I see a meeting organized by you with your name.
Okay, fine. Great. I look forward to it. Ethan, by the way, comments on a live stream that whatever we do with progress better work on a terminal, but you know that already.
It's already working in the
It
terminal.
already works on the terminal.
Great. All right. I'm sorry. I've been a little rushed here. Okay. Good stuff. More to discuss next time.